Imagine waking up to stunning mountain vistas, immersing yourself in a rich tapestry of arts and culture, and indulging in farm-to-table delights. Welcome to the greater Charlottesville, Virginia area. Wait a minute. Doesn't this sound just a little too perfect? I mean, how good is it really? And what's it going to set you back? What's the true cost of living in Charlottesville, Virginia? I'm going to share with you some dry statistics, and then allow me to share with you my perspective on each of these cost categories. Number 10, food. According to the website 247wallstreet.com, the average cost of food in this area runs 18% higher than the national average. While that sounds like a big number, and it is, it doesn't really tell the whole story. Economics change as you get outside the city, and there are many choices based on selection and price. To start off with, the greater Charlottesville area boasts several chain grocery stores, such as Food Lion, Kroger, Wegmans, Harris Teeter, Giant, Trader Joe's, Walmart, and Whole Foods. Food Lion stores are the most prevalent, as you can find them all over the place in Central Virginia. The same is almost true of Walmart, as their superstores have large, well-stocked grocery sections. The remaining grocery stores I named off are concentrated in and around the Charlottesville area in Albemarle County. We have some independent and specialty stores as well. A couple that I'll mention are Foods of All Nations and Yoder's Country Market. Foods of All Nations has been a destination for locals and visitors for more than 50 years in Charlottesville and has been providing imported, domestic, and local foods. Yoder's Country Market is an interesting experience. In addition to providing locally sourced foods and produce in small and bulk quantities, they also have a deli, a small restaurant, and a zoo of very interesting and exotic farm animals. There are many stores in the Charlottesville area that cater to Eastern European, Latino, Asian, Middle Eastern, and other cuisines. For those who desire fresh produce, there are plenty of farmers markets in and around Charlottesville and the surrounding counties. Finally, if you're looking for contract growers for your local produce, there are plenty of CSAs in the area as well. Number 9, transportation and fuel costs. Okay, if you're worried that food will cost you more, you're going to get a break here. Unless you work from home, are within walking distance of the office, or plan to use the Charlottesville City bus line, chances are you're going to be driving to work. This means consuming fuel. And in the greater Charlottesville area, you'll be spending 12% less than the national average. And if you decide to live a little further out from work, your commute isn't going to be that bad either. Most of the region is rural, and the roads are in pretty good shape. These two factors have yielded my rule of thumb, which is this. If you want to know how long it's going to take you to get to work, take the distance in miles, add 10 to it, and that's going to be your drive time in minutes. Yes, we do have rush hour and congested times of the day, but typically you're going to be in and out of that in something like 5 to 10 minutes. One thing to bear in mind too is that VDOT, the Virginia Department of Transportation, has fallen in love with traffic circles, especially in this area. Whether you know them as roundabouts, if you're from England, or if you know them as rotaries, if you're from New England, VDOT really likes these, and they've been adding them to the area because they provide an extra margin of safety and cut down on traffic accidents at dangerous intersections. Number 8, healthcare. Again, the dry statistic from 247wallstreet.com is that healthcare costs run 6 to 7% below the national average. Here's the great thing about this area that you're going to appreciate when you need it. We're blessed with two great hospital systems, the University of Virginia Hospital and the Martha Jefferson Hospital, which is part of the Centera system. Both hospitals have associated primary care facilities throughout the area, and all counties have the usual ambulance, EMT, and emergency services that you would come to expect. In addition, UVA Hospital has the Pegasus Emergency Transport System, which consists of a helicopter staffed by a highly trained crew. The Pegasus team operates up to 120 miles from the hospital and can provide a response when minutes count. Number 7, state and local sales taxes. Not a very exciting category because there's not a whole lot you can do about this. The sales tax rate in Virginia is 5.3%, of which 1% gets returned back to the localities. Now, if you like to eat out, meals are going to cost you anywhere from 4% to 6.5%, depending on the location. Number 6, the internet. This has become the number 2 or 3 question I get asked when I'm showing houses to people. They want to know, is it high-speed internet? Does it have it? Does it have broadband? All questions like that. And it's important because more and more people are working from home, or their kids are having to do schoolwork, where people are just using streaming services more and more for daily life. So in this area, we have everything from dial-up to fiber optic services and everything in between. There's no correlation between the cost of these services and the speed that you'll get. I know that some fiber optic services will cost you about 1/3 of what some others will, and yet you can have speeds as much as 50 times faster as what those higher price services will cost you. The thing about it is, while it is growing in this area, it is not uniform. In fact, it's kind of uneven, and you can't assume that just because you're in the city, you're going to get better service than what's available in the rural areas. The nice thing about this is there are a couple of websites. One is called the Commonwealth Connection, which you pop in your address and it'll tell you what's available, in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The other one is the FCC broadband map. Again, you put in your address and it'll tell you what services are available. So this is a helpful aid to see if an area or even a particular address is served well. The thing you have to keep in mind, though, is to know absolutely sure, I recommend that you call the service provider to ensure that you're going to get the service you expect. Number 5, utilities. When we talk utility costs, the biggest portion of your bill is going to be electric. Rates in Central Virginia are on par with the national average. And right now we're paying 13.6 cents a kilowatt hour. The largest provider is Dominion Energy, which is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. And in addition to them, we have several local electric co-ops. What I do appreciate is that electric rates in Virginia are regulated by the State Corporation Commission. So anytime the electric providers want to go up on rates, they have to provide a good argument to the SCC before they can just willy-nilly do that. Electric costs are always going up, but the thing I like about the SCC doing their regulation is they keep the wild fluctuations out of that. So when we do have an increase, they're small and they're livable. Now, another question I get asked a lot is, how often does the power go out and for how long? My own experience is this happens rarely. Usually what causes that to happen is you've either got a storm with high winds, so think of summertime thunderstorms, or in the wintertime you've got heavy snowfall or even an ice storm that could take trees down that fall across the lines and so on and so forth. Most outages, the power is restored within a matter of minutes or hours. Every once in a great while, though, there's a large storm that will take power out for several days. So for this reason, a lot of homeowners, especially in the rural areas, will get a backup generator, a whole house generator, to provide power in those emergency instances. Other utilities, if you live in town or in a very large neighborhood, that you're going to be paying for will be things like water and sewer, trash pickup, and things of that sort. The rates for those are pretty much competitive across the board. I will say, though, that there is one large HOA in the area that is known for having high water prices. We're not going to get into that one this time. We'll cover that in another video. Number 4, state income tax. What do you want to know? You can't do anything about it. Income tax in Virginia is a flat 5.75%. Can't think of anything interesting to say about that. It is what it is. So let's move on. Number 3, this is another tax category, real estate taxes. This category may have some bearing on where you choose to live. What you pay in real estate taxes will be determined by the assessed value of the home that you choose and the tax rate determined by the locality, whether that's the city of Charlottesville or one of the surrounding counties. The map on your screen shows the real estate tax rates for Charlottesville and the surrounding areas. Rates will get adjusted as often as once a year, up to as rarely as once every 6 years. That's regulated by state law, and your rural counties can't go more than 6 years without making an adjustment to the tax rate. You can see from the map that for 2023, Nelson County had the lowest tax rate at 65 cents per $100 of value. Compare that to Charlottesville, which has a tax rate of 96 cents per $100 of value. Now, in terms of rough numbers, if we combine those rates, the high and the low, with the median home price in each of these areas, we get a spectrum of $2,000 to $4,000 a year in real estate taxes. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I'm using median home values. These are actual market prices. Assessments are different. They're not directly from market prices. Instead, they come about the assessed value by hiring contractors who will come up with a number supposedly based on market price, and they'll attach that to the property. Assessed values are strictly for the purpose of determining how much real estate tax you're going to pay. So in this instance, where you live and how much you've paid for your house, what it's assessed at, is going to determine what you'll pay. The most interesting thing I find about this is I will get people who call me, maybe from certain parts of the country, where the taxes are much, much higher. And it really surprises me when someone says, that $2,436 tax on this particular house I'm interested in, is that per month? And I have to say, no, that's per year, followed by several seconds of silence. So while Central Virginia isn't the lowest in the country for real estate taxes, it does compare very favorably to some metropolitan areas, and is one of the things that makes this area attractive. Number 2, HOA and condominium dues. Now, this is not necessarily a category that's going to affect everybody, only if you choose to buy in a condominium or live in a homeowners association. I've seen HOA and condo dues run anywhere from $50 a year to $1,500 a month. At the high end, this gets you a lot of amenities, and it's almost like an assisted living facility or a 55 and over facility. That's what the high end will get you. At the low end, you'll probably get a nice picnic in the summertime. The cost can vary quite a bit, and so can the level of services provided. Disclosure packages are required by state law for anyone who intends to buy in a homeowners association or a condominium association. And you have a certain amount of time during the contract period to review this to see what you're going to get for your money and whether or not it makes sense to live there. All right, we get to the big category. Number 1, housing. So what you see on the screen right now is a map of the counties and the city of Charlottesville that are showing median home prices. And these were taken from the first quarter of 2023. One of the many factors that sustains home prices in the area is availability and diversity of employment. While the rise over the past year of mortgage interest rates from 3% to 7% has cooled the rapid increase in home prices, the thing to remember is in the Charlottesville area, they have held pretty steady. They're not going up, but they're not falling. A lot of people have asked me, is the market going to crash? We're not seeing that around here. The bottom line is that home prices have been holding up well in the greater Charlottesville area, as has buyer demand. A couple of other things to make you aware of. New home building remains strong in the area, and I've also seen an increase in the number of all-cash purchases. So there you have it. I hope this gives you an idea of the cost of living in Charlottesville and the greater Central Virginia area. The good news to remember is that you can have control over the higher cost items, especially when it comes to home buying. Before you leave, don't forget to check out the resources and links listed in the description. If you found this information helpful, take a look at my next video, The Pros and Cons of Living in Charlottesville. Until then, thanks for watching.